Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel Sharang and Charvari. So firstly, thank you for all the love on the previous videos that we have uploaded. We really like that you guys are engaging with our content, and that's why this motivates us to make more and more videos. And without wasting any time, today's topic is very interesting as well as important. It's a mix of the two, honestly. So firstly, I want to start with this new series that's trending on Netflix. I mean, to those who have watched it, and if you haven't, please watch Adolescence on Netflix. This is not a promotion in any way, but it's so damn good that you should really go and see it. The way that they have portrayed everything, all the actors in the series have done a fantastic job. The direction is perfect. I mean, I won't be surprised if it's the most watched thing of 2025 so far, is what I'll say. So now I'll just give the audience, for those who haven't watched the series, kind of an idea of what exactly is going on in the series. You might be seeing it popping on your feed. So before you actually go and watch it, I'll just give you a small recap without any spoilers for sure. So there's this boy who's acquitted of a crime.
Accused, not acquitted.
I'm sorry, accused of a crime, but he's not. The catch here is that he's not really accused yet.
Okay.
So that's where it starts, that this boy is picked up from his home in at like 6 in the morning, and you see police at his house, and you feel concerned. He's literally a 13-year-old boy. So what crime would he have done to make police with guns and everything marching around the house? It's pretty scary to watch.
Yeah.
And then it slowly starts to unravel into the dark world of adolescent young minds that we have there. And this also has a big message. So there are some topics which, again, as I said, I'm not giving any spoilers. There are some topics that are really discussed here, which are somewhat trending here in the world. They have been trending before, they might be trending in the background, but this series has definitely brought them up to light and up to speed. So here we talk about young boys, especially in the age group of 10 to 15, and the struggles they go through and their interaction with social media. But there's also one more thing that is really discussed in this series, that is incel culture. Now, I myself was not at all acquainted to this phrase. I actually heard about it for the first time in the series, and I was super curious to find out what does it mean. It's been brought up a lot in the series, and it somewhere in revolves around it. So I consulted my dear husband here, because he reads about a lot of things and he knows a lot of things. So I spoke about this to Sharang, and he definitely knew what it meant. So maybe Sharang, you can tell everyone about what incel culture is.
Yeah, sure. So, and before I start and talk more about this parental discretion advice, this is
Yeah.
the first time that we've put up such a disclaimer, I believe. So, if you have any children, then keep them away from the screens. And
Yeah.
if you are under 18, definitely don't watch this. And if you are above the age of 18, then and if you're very sensitive, then probably just bear in mind that this is some psychologically disturbing material.
Yeah.
So with this disclaimer out of the way, incel stands for involuntary celibate, so it's like a short form, and it refers to essentially a batch of men who actually wish to engage in sexual liaisons with women, and who wish to, like, just have a normal life, etc.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason they are unable to find a mate, a partner, and so they're lonely. But somewhere they also feel somehow wronged by society, and they feel they have like their attitude towards women has become pathologized to some extent, where they either may harbor deep feelings of resentment and misogyny against women for having rejected them their whole life, or something like this, and we do find the female counterpart as well.
Yeah.
You'll often see these women who are, for whatever reason, unable to find love, and you'll often find them be very bitter and angry at the world. The difference is, though, that men as a group are way more aggressive than women.
Yeah.
And they're much more capable of physical violence than women. So in society, whenever you have a bunch of angry, frustrated young men, then it's a problem for the whole societies, because the young men start essentially all the violent, bloody revolutions. Like, I can't think of any in history, maybe you can, of a violent revolution which was spearheaded either by women or men over the age of 45. You just don't have the capacity
The
to fight,
energy or the will.
the insane aggression, the ability to just not care. So in any society, right? If young men begin to feel hopeless and they begin to feel that there is only darkness in their life and there's no point to life, then they'll be like, yeah, I might as well, I'll die, but I'll take all of society down with me. And one part of that, I think America has unfortunately seen too much of is school shootings. Like the men who walk in there, kill their classmates. They know they're going to die, but they don't care. So, what does it take to go into that level of darkness? What sort of a what sort of mindset do you have to actually end up doing that? That essentially is an incel. Now, sorry, just one last thing. The vast majority of incels are not violent, obviously, right? But they're just frustrated and they either avoid women or whatever. But the small minority of them who are pretty horrible people. Okay, over to you.
Yeah, so I was saying there's this one case in the US. I think I don't know the specifics where it happened or like who was involved and all, but I think there was this guy who was rejected by a girl, and then this happened in like their high school.
Yeah.
And then he visited a party. So this party was at a friend's place.
Yeah.
And there were like a huge gathering of people, about 20 to 25. But
Yeah.
this boy, he shot everyone at the party, including this girl who rejected him dead just because she did not, return the reciprocation.
Yeah.
There was no. Yeah, it was pretty dark, and I was like, this might have been read by me like 2 years ago, and I didn't know this term yet.
Yeah.
But I think this is what that is probably.
Yeah, probably. Like it's like this is a correlation, right? But like, so I'm not sure if that guy was essentially an incel or maybe some people are just genuinely just psychotic and violent. So I don't know. You're the psychologist, so this might be a bit more your domain.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my honest response would be I'm not sure. But there is this movement. So essentially, and I believe, right, if we are to counter evil, any kind of evil, be it racism, be it misogyny, be it misandry, or be it this incel slash femcel culture, I think we have to understand the root causes of that evil so we can stand steadfast in the face of its arguments. So in Christianity, there's a saying which means that the devil has a silver tongue. And Adolf Hitler had a silver tongue, so to speak. His rhetoric was powerful, and he managed to take Germany down a dark road. And the only way to counteract this is to understand it and try to, have the necessary information to fight against it. Right. So, Sharvari, like, do you know? Like, let's go into the like. I think this you might find this interesting.
Sure.
Let's go into the psychological profile of an incel. Right. Let's start by a basic profile. What do you think the age of an incel is?
So, I think someone who has attained sexual maturity, I would say. So that would be somewhere around maybe the adolescence, which is shown.
Exactly.
That's where it starts, in my opinion.
Yeah. So like, so a lot of men can be incels, but here specifically we're talking about like how do you say violent incels. Right. So the thing is, what happens, and I know this because I'm a man. Like when you're a boy, you have your thoughts, right? And all of a sudden you hit puberty, and all of a sudden testosterone begins to pump into your bloodstream. And the same way women have struggles, controlling their hormones because of their periods or because when they first hit puberty. The same way when we hit puberty, we also have trouble controlling our emotions because all of a sudden the testosterone makes us much more aggressive and much more capable of physical violence. So when you're a boy, you can just go and hit someone in a playful way and run away. It doesn't make a difference. But as a man, if you do it, you can really hurt and potentially kill someone. So all of a sudden, you have the body of a man but the mind of a child, and this makes adolescent boys extremely problematic and terrifying because they have like an insane self-confidence. Because
exactly.
It's like when you hit puberty, all of a sudden you get a sudden burst of strength, and because of that, you feel you can do anything in the world, and you have ultimate self-confidence because life hasn't taught you enough to know you're not that much. Life hasn't humbled you, so to speak. And this is the hero's journey, essentially. Where he faces the archetypal story.
There's actually one scene from Adolescence. Of course, I'm not giving any spoilers, guys, so you don't have to worry about whether you have to cover your ears at this part or anything, so don't worry about that. But I think this happens in the third episode, but this boy who is accused of a crime, we don't know who, like, I know since I've seen the series if he did it or not, but we don't yet know if he's done it or not. So he is accused of killing his classmate, who's a girl. And there is a psychologist who's brought to discuss this case with the boy. Of course, he definitely needs mental help because, he's accused of such a heinous crime. And there's a shot in which he literally just towers above her. She might be like 30, and he's this 13-year-old boy. He literally towers over her, and with aggression, he's trying to control her. He feels like using that aggression, he can control each and everything around him. And that is shown beautifully. I mean, kudos to all the actors.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the boy. I think it's Someone Cooper, and Erin Doherty plays the psychologist. So beautiful portrayal, but that scene I must recommend you should watch. It is absolutely wonderful portrayal.
So this is like the profile, and I think we have to ask the question now, which is the $1 million question, is why? And the next question is, how do we stop it? Or how do we make sure that society does not create such people?
Right.
So the first question is, like, why are incels created, right? And can you find a way to really put yourself in their shoes and have empathy for them? And I'm not saying that this excuses their behavior. This is in no way like that. But if you want to understand Nazism, you have to understand its philosophy before you come to the conclusion that Nazis are evil. If you just say Nazis are evil because that's what everyone else around you says, then I'm sorry, you have not read enough.
Yeah.
They are evil. They are much more evil than you think they are. And to understand how evil they are, you have to understand them. So using the same logic, imagine you're a young boy, right? And when you're a young boy, you're actually insecure because you're terrified of rejection. And since you're a boy, you have to do the bulk of approaching women. For whatever reason, women are just not into you. And the fact of the matter is that today young men are in crisis because so much of the world today is actually discriminating against young men.
Right.
And like whenever you even say something like this, the immediate pushback is, hey, but all of history was brutal to women or blah, blah, blah. Two wrongs don't make a right. And today, in fact, many laws are actively discriminating against against men. Society actively discriminates against men. So they feel marginalized, they feel isolated, and they feel they have no one to rely on and trust. And this is a bad combination. So in simple terms, right, if you're a young man, especially in the Western countries, right, because I lived there, I know a bit of what it is like, right? Let's say you're a typical standard European or Western European boy, right? You're white, right? Because statistically speaking. So because you're white, from the get-go, what are you taught? That you're an evil colonizer, right? That you somehow are responsible for the crimes of people God knows how many years ago. And this happens in Germany all the time, like a lot of people, Germans, Nazis. That's like the first thing that they often think about. And like I have had conversations with so many young Germans who somehow feel responsible for Hitler and Nazism, which is insane because they were born 60 years after the Hitler died. So they have nothing to do with Nazism. And racism is like, everyone around the world is racist, including Indians, I might add. So you are taught that because you're white, you're a problem. And then you're taught that because you're a male, you're also a problem. And like often these women's rights movements, they start off in a good way, but then they end up being completely insane. So for example, Me Too, it was a great thing and it exposed a lot of really horrible men who were being completely atrocious to women. But also what happened is sometimes some women are liars. Sometimes some women are evil and they use false accusations of rape and sexual misconduct to destroy men's lives, to try to harm them, to try to take their careers away. Like a classic case is two people get drunk and they have sex, right? And then oftentimes women have accused those men of rape or whatever, right? But if the man were to do that, they would be just laughed out of court. So this is like the sexual front. It's also tied to the economy because today, like the state of the economy, especially in Western countries, especially for young people, is not good. Their demographic pyramids have inverted, which means there's way more old people, there's way too few young people. Those young people don't get enough jobs, they don't get enough prospects, they don't they feel like there's a hopelessness to them. So there's this another survey in America which indicated that like around 60% of young men, like 20-year-olds, are single, whereas only 30% of young women are single. So why is that possible? How is that even possible? Simple reason: the women are dating older. And why are these women dating older men? Because older men have had a longer time to accumulate resources, to accumulate some kind of status. And women are attracted to status. Multiple studies have shown.
Yeah,
Yeah, over to you.
like from what we may have discussed till now,
Yeah.
somewhere like this needs to be taught to young boys,
Yeah.
that you can't use your power to control a woman.
For sure.
And I think this is something that this is what the show actually speaks about, that you cannot teach that, or you cannot differentiate between your son and your daughter. Because that is what I think modern parenting, I mean, we aren't parents yet, but what I see as a psychologist, I've worked with parents before. So what I see in modern parenting is this mistake, that you kind of normalize giving boys the upper hand sometimes, or it may be in terms of kitchen chores, or it may be in terms of small things around the house. But somewhere boys feel like they can, easily control women. And that is not the way to go. I mean, you should always aim for doing things equal. And somewhere this is what the series exactly talks about, because Jamie, the boy in the series, thinks he can easily control any woman and what he can do to her just by some impulsive action, which of course you will get to find out whether it costs a life or not. But it definitely is something that is very risky. And this aggression, if it is not, stopped, I would not say it is not possible to stop aggression.
Channelized in a better.
Channelize, correct. That's the right word. Channelize it in an efficient and correct way would be the right way to go about it. Otherwise, this can have serious consequences as the child gets.
Yeah. So I think the only way, and this is very easy to say and almost impossible to do, like the only way to do it is like we live in a world where women and men not only have the same rights but are also held to the same standards.
Yeah.
So an example of it would be if you get drunk and you have sex with someone and you are stupid enough to make that call, then you are stupid enough to make that call, regardless of if you're a man or woman. Or something like just because you see a discrepancy between outcomes doesn't automatically mean that there is sexism. And essentially, at the end of the day, judge people as individuals based on their merit. Don't look at their race, don't look at their gender, don't look at anything. Just look at, can this individual perform this specific task, yes or no? And if he can, great. If not, it's fine. Not everyone is equal, not everyone is distributed equally. Like every time there's a marathon or a sprinting race, it's the Africans winning every time, and more power to them. They clearly have some, either they're training in some way, or I think it's mostly a genetic advantage that they have. Great, we don't have to have, there's no problem. Similarly, women dominate humanities, men dominate STEM. It's okay. Like there's no need to try to make everything 50-50. We are different, we're beautiful in our own ways. We should be held to the same standard, and we should move together. We need each other, and we should move together in the future as one. And this toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, this idea that that women don't need men, that men don't need women, is insane. We're children of God. And, I think that's all from my end. Sharvari, do you wish to add anything?
I have a few points to add actually. So like where like we talk about women being, as you rightly said, we talk about women being these horrible beasts and all, and I mean sometimes they are. It's horrible. So are the men. Because we live on planet Earth where women are bad, men are bad.
Yes.
But I think the main thing that I would want to discuss here, as I mentioned before, is dealing with it at the source. And that is again a topic that is parallel to incel culture. That is, what are our kids, or we don't have kids yet, but our kids or the next generation, what are they watching on the internet? So internet control is also something I would like to say here, because incel culture is something that emerged on the internet, I believe.
I guess, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I think there were a few podcasts, or I'm not sure about
Andrew
it.
Tate, are you talking about him?
I suppose, yeah. I think that's the name.
Yeah.
But that's like internet culture. And then all of these young boys and girls, they go and read about these things, and they are at an age where they are not aware of things. So you have no idea about the world, and I'm saying for both girls and boys. Like you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea to all these what these terms mean and everything. You don't have the maturity to make sense of what you're reading about on the internet. And here is where we should really control what our kids are doing on the internet. Maybe like my advice would be not give them phones.
Yes.
I mean, I had a phone when it was pretty late, but the kids nowadays are getting phones like when they're in school or something. So that should really be stopped, because that age is very delicate. It is something that is, it should be controlled better. So I think that would be the last point that I would like to make.
Okay, perfect. So I think at the end, I just want to say that we're very happy and humbled by all the love and suggestions that you've been giving us. And like, I never ever thought that this channel would even get to 270 subscribers, that so many of people would tune in to us from America, from United Kingdom, and from India, obviously. That was a very strange thing for us, for someone like me to observe. Like a lot of people, like I think around 30 to 40% of our audience, actually, they watch us with our subtitles on, which means they are having a tough time understanding this accent, which means that they are Firangi. No, but yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for all your love. And but just one thing, that most of you who are watching our videos on a regular basis, unfortunately, are not subscribed. So please, please, please press the subscribe button, press the bell icon notification so you can get our videos on time. And yeah, continue to shower us with love. And please let us know your suggestions in the comments. We read almost all of your comments. At some point, we were reading all of your comments, but now this channel is getting a bit bigger, too big to read all of them, which is a great problem to have. And I think this is a good place to end. Thank you. And
I just want to add one thing. So please, guys, make sure that you follow our new posting schedule. I've mentioned it before on the channel, but we post every Wednesday and Saturday. So make sure you have that in your heads, on your calendar, make a note, whatever helps you. And lastly, please watch Adolescence on Netflix. It came out on March 13th and it's there for you to watch. So please, please, after this video, open your Netflix and go watch it.
They should pay us for this free publicity.
They should actually. Thank you.